Hello and welcome. You are looking at the most compact recording setup that you can use to create YouTube videos or even on site with a client. Let's take a look. My name is Cree, and on this channel, I talk about tech with context. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I have done a number of videos highlighting this device, the Rode Streamer X. This device is typically used for streaming, so I use this for my everyday conference calls. I also use it for some of my client work to capture any virtual podcast or interview recordings. And anytime I need a small size setup, then I turn to the Streamer X as long as I only need one video and one audio input to get the job done. Now, today we're going to use this device to do something a little differently. Rather than using it to stream, we're actually going to use it as a centralized hub where we can collect both audio and video, and we're going to send the signal out to the Atomos Ninja 5, where we're actually going to record everything in one place. So without further ado, let's get into the details. Here's the overall setup. You can see at the top, I have the Sony a6700. This is just the smallest size camera that I have, but it does send out a 4K signal. And because the Streamer X has a 4K capture card, then I'm going to record in 4K to get the highest quality possible. Now down below is the Streamer X, and what's sandwiched in between is the Atomos Ninja 5. This is an external recording device, and I use this one because I can also use it as a monitor. So once I have everything set up, the camera set up, all I'm doing is feeding that HDMI signal from the camera through the Streamer X and into this external capture device, and that way I have everything all in one place. I do have a small light that I'll go over here in a minute, and this is really as compact as you can get when it comes to setting up your studio to capture talking headshots like this, or if you're out doing client work. Let's break this down and let's start with audio. Again, we are going with the most compact setup that we can use. And in this case, I'm using a wireless microphone. You can see it right here. And you're listening to the Rode Wireless Go 2. It's connected directly to the Streamer X. So that's what's nice about these devices, and what Rode has given you the ability to do is I can sync this microphone directly to my Streamer X. So all I have to do is select the wireless input on the front of the Streamer X, sync one of my transmitters, and there we have it. This microphone is connected directly to the Streamer X. I don't need a receiver or anything like that. So all I have to do is pack one of the microphones and I'm ready to go. Now, this wireless connection only works with the Rode Wireless Go 2, the Rode Wireless Me, or the Rode Wireless Pro at this time, but that does give you 3 options. And again, this is just the smallest audio option available with this setup. Now, audio is a little quirky with the Streamer X. There isn't a way to separate audio from video within the Streamer X itself. In fact, Rode Central doesn't allow you to do this as well. So when you're sending an HDMI signal from the camera through the Atomos Ninja 5, it's going to take both the audio and the video from that HDMI source. Well, I want to get as slim down as possible. So what I'm doing is, rather than using this wireless microphone and connecting it to the camera, which you can do, and you can also send both of those signals through the HDMI ports, I'm actually separating them out so I don't have to pack a receiver. I am just packing one microphone, one transmitter, and that's it. So there are a couple of different options. You can use this wireless microphone, bring your receiver with you, attach and connect this wireless microphone directly to your camera and send both the audio and video signal through the HDMI ports. But what you can also do, and in this case, is I'm taking advantage of the headphone jack on the back of the Streamer X. So I have the video running through the HDMI through port into the Atomos Ninja 5. However, I am sending the audio into a separate channel outside of the HDMI connection, and I'm only sending it through the audio port. So I'm taking advantage of this headphone jack, and I'm using the mic line in on the Atomos Ninja 5, and then that way I am collecting both audio and video directly in the Atomos Ninja 5, and I'm ready to go. Now, if you do decide to send the audio and video signal separately into the Atmos Ninja 5, I do suggest turning down the microphone volume in camera all the way to 0. That way it's not capturing any audio through the camera, which is in turn being sent through the HDMI cable. And what's going to happen is you're only going to collect the audio that's coming through the Rode Wireless Go 2 or whatever wireless microphone that you're using for this setup. And that is the only audio signal that's going to be sent into the Atmos Ninja 5. Now keep in mind, the biggest advantage to doing it this way is to keep things as small as possible. We are going for packing the least amount of equipment as possible when using this setup. Now let's take a look at the video setup. I've already mentioned I want to select a camera that shoots in 4K so that I can send that high quality signal through from the camera to the Streamer X. The Rode Streamer X does have a 4K capture card, so all I do is connect the camera to the Streamer X using the HDMI in port. And now what I'm going to do is run an HDMI cable from the through port on the back of the Streamer X, and I'm going to run that into the Atmos Ninja 5. And what I'm trying to do here is send the audio and the video signal through to the Atmos Ninja 5. So I have everything in one place. All I have to do is take the SSD card out of the back of the Atmos Ninja 5, attach it to my computer, and I have one file with everything that I need, and it just makes this workflow efficient and so fast. Now, before pressing record, I always make it a point to monitor my audio, and in this case, I can do an audio check just using these small size earbuds. What I've done is I have plugged these earbuds into the Atmos Ninja 5. I want to hear what the audio sounds like once it's being sent through this microphone, through the Streamer X, and into the Atmos Ninja 5. That way I know exactly what the audio sounds like when it ultimately ends up in that device. So that's what I do before I record: set the camera up, set the Streamer X up, make sure the microphone is synced. I send all the signals over to the Atmos Ninja 5 and then just do an audio check to make sure that everything sounds good. And then I'm also looking at the monitor, and I already know what everything's going to look like, so that I also know that everything's going to look good. When it comes to lighting, either in the studio or if you're on location with a client, I take this small size Joon light. It's a 60-watt light. And I'll tell you what, this light really packs a punch. So what I typically do with a light like this, because it is so small and the softbox is small, what I'll do is I'll use this for motivational lighting. So I'll find a window in the space, I'll set the light up in front of the window. And the downside to using natural light is if it's a cloudy day or if the sun goes behind trees, you're going to get inconsistent lighting. So what you can do is just set this light up in front of a window. It's going to give you that consistent lighting. So not only are you taking advantage of lighting coming through the window, but you're also using this light to create consistency directly in front of you. And this is what using that light in front of a window looks like. Now, of course, the larger the softbox, the softer the lighting is on your subject, but we are keeping things small with this setup. And if you don't have a window to use for motivational lighting in a room, well, you can still use this light anyways. So this is what the Joon light looks like. You just set it a couple of feet back from your camera. And I think this is something you can probably get away with. The other reason why I like this small size light so much, other than its small size, is that you can power it using a USB-C plug. If you have a strong enough battery or a portable electric battery of some sort, you can power this light, or you can just plug it into the wall. And that makes this light so appealing because everything is so small and compact. Now, who is this setup for? If you have a small size studio and want to keep things as compact as possible and also make your workflow as efficient as possible, well, this is definitely a setup to consider. Again, all you have to do once everything is set up is just take your file from the Atmos Ninja 5, bring it right into whatever editing software you use, and you can start editing right away. Everything's already in one place. The other scenario that I use this setup is if I'm going on site with a client, I can literally fit this entire setup into a backpack. I can travel with it. I can take it on site with a client, and we can record virtually. We can do those virtual podcast interviews, regular interviews, also conference calls, or any scenario where you really want a high quality recording. And then also, again, just to make the back end and the editing as efficient as possible. So this is the setup that I'm experimenting with these days. And what do you think? Is this a setup that you could use in your workflow? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And before heading out, subscribe. I put out a new video each week that pulls back the curtains and shows you how I use video production tech in my everyday workflow, so that not only do you have the technical aspect of this equipment, but you can also see one of many ways that you can put it to use. So thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take care.